With the possibility of the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake looming over us, assuming that it ever gets made, I decided to play through the original to determine if it still holds up. Allowing for some jank, of course, given how old the game is, but namely, was the game as good as I remember? I remember Prince of Persia quite fondly, and it being an excellent game, well above its competitors at the time, back when Ubisoft actually made good games. The ability to control time, rewinding it as necessary, running up walls, along walls, and doing all sorts of acrobatics was all too exciting. But that's where I need to make a confession. You see, back when I was a kid and I tried Prince of Persia for the first time on PC, I actually got stuck at this part.
Because this is where you had to like actually time all the jumps. I was like unable to do it.
It wasn't until a friend came over with a copy of Warrior Within on the PlayStation 2 that I tried Prince of Persia again. And when I saw the potential and managed to pull off some of the acrobatics much easier using a controller, I decided that I needed to go back and play the first one. Prince of Persia quickly became my all-time favourite series, at least for games from the PlayStation. And as we didn't have many games at the time, I would often play the series over and over, especially the Two Thrones, which is my favourite within the series. But we're not here for that. We're here for where it all started. So, sit down, and I will tell you a tale
like none you have ever heard.
Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, initially released in 2003, developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. The game follows an unnamed prince, and he shall stay unnamed as we're going to ignore a certain film that came out in 2010. We follow the Prince of Persia and the Persian army raiding a city on their way to Azad, and after some sick wall runs, jumps and wherever the hell this is, we obtain the Dagger of Time, which later this clearly not evil guy tries to take from us, as well as getting annoyed that he can't have the Hourglass of Time.
Inside the hourglass is a marvel that no living man has seen.
We are tricked into unleashing the Sands of Time, transforming the people of Azad into savage monsters. Who possibly could have foreseen that the evil-looking guy would have betrayed us? As we are in possession of the Dagger of Time, we are presumably protected and not transformed, which we will quickly learn more about the Dagger and the Sands of Time as the tale unfolds. Upon loading the game up, I was a tad surprised by some of the settings, or rather lack thereof for settings, which really should be expected for a game of this time, but for some reason caught me off guard. The combat feels kind of weird, but generally serviceable, but we'll get back to that later. Initially, I was more concerned with the movement feeling absolutely awful on keyboard and mouse. So much so that I even swapped to a controller to play it. But I actually searched, find the game case, and take a look at the manual, putting the controls back to how I would have experienced it all those years ago.
Okay, I have the actual Prince of Persia Sands of Time case in front of me. Let's see.
After setting everything up just how I wanted it, honestly, I was having a blast. I had spent so much time throughout my childhood playing Prince of Persia, so a chance to revisit the series was both exciting and daunting, wondering how is it going to hold up. When I think of Prince of Persia, there's two main things I think of.
I'm sorry, Prince.
No, I mean the Dagger of Time and the acrobatics. If you're telling me that you've never tried to wall run as a kid after playing Prince of Persia, I don't trust you. The opening scene is a great tutorial for all of the moves that you're expected to manage, and as you progress, the game steadily requests more and more from you, needing to time jumps more, complete acrobatics which are timed, or avoid traps while doing all of this. The puzzle sections are also great, especially the library area. It's just a simple puzzle of putting the mirrors in the correct positions to ensure the light gets to the end, but the acrobatics that you're required to do throughout all of this really elevates the experience. I wouldn't say that any of the puzzles are necessarily difficult from a cognitive perspective, but they're engaging enough that they're quite memorable. One thing I do wish to forget, however, is all the times that I jumped off the edge while doing these puzzles, or even just simple jump sections because of the bloody camera. Now I know that the camera moves based on the prince's location, and it is intended to assist you with making jumps or knowing the correct area to go to, but honestly, I found it more annoying than anything. The quick camera changes led me to jump in directions that I sometimes didn't want, doing a complete 180 or jumping clear off to my death.
No, that didn't happen.
The interesting thing though, when you die, be it from falling or to an enemy, you hear the prince talk. No, that didn't happen, or not like that, as if he is making a correction to the story.
I'll start the story from here next time.
This is one of those finer details which you would only really appreciate if you played the complete series, and I don't want to spoil too much, but at the end of the third game, when a certain character asks how you know of them, the prince says that he will tell the tale, and it shows the opening cinematic from the Sands of Time. Essentially, the entirety of the first game is a retelling that is taking place after the events of the third game. Time being an ocean in a storm is also represented in the visions you see from the sand whirlpools, which are created at each of the combat encounters. Stepping into the sands, you will see visions of the future, showing trials to come and sometimes even the prince's death. This is really nice because it gives a tease of what's to come, although I feel that sometimes they're a bit too much and often quite repetitive. Speaking of repetitive, while the combat is decent overall, I found myself just repeating the same move over and over, jumping up and over the enemy and slicing their back to get easy kills. Now, this doesn't work for all enemies, as later some enemies will push you away if you try to jump over them, but these ones I just block their attack and hit them back, or use the dagger and it's a free kill. The more I played though, despite some of the gripes that I had early on and frustrations as I jumped off a cliff or got myself stuck in an endless death loop, no matter how much I rewound time, I was having a blast. The game definitely has major drawbacks. In fact, if it was to release in a similar state today, but with obviously massively improved graphics, I don't think it would do particularly well, or at least it wouldn't be the success that it originally was. The story is great, but the rest unfortunately just feels so dated. Looking back, I think my hype and fondness for Prince of Persia may have been more for the series as a whole, and particularly with the other two games, rather than this installment. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, was an absolute blast to play again, but unfortunately I cannot say that it holds up beyond the nostalgia and having the opportunity to revisit a beloved game series. With that said though, as the game is so short and you can pick up the entire series for so cheap now, it's worth playing. But just be mindful of the shortcomings before you go into it, and I'm sure you'll still have a good time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll leave a like and possibly even subscribe. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to watch this, and I hope that you found it meaningful.